Welcome everyone to Over and Back. Welcome to the playoff preview. I'm joined with Oregon coach Chris Siebert and Greenfield coach Ryan DePouw. My first time meeting you, Ryan. Ryan, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, man. Big
Let,
fan. Pleasure to be on.
I appreciate that. Let's start with this. Give me the background of how you guys know each other.
I'll take it. Chris and I both played at Lawrence. I was one class younger, and played together for 3 years for the esteemed, also over and back guest Chris Kellett, one of our assistant coaches, and became good friends over that. Both then coached in high school together for Chris's. Was it 1 year or 2 years you were at Franklin, Chris?
2 years.
2 years. Yep, 2 years at Franklin, where I was teaching and coaching, assistant coaching down there. So then, Chris had a quote unquote real job and started helping me out coaching frosh hoops at Franklin when I was teaching social studies. He moved on to bigger things at Oregon shortly after, and then I stayed there for a few more years, and now I'm at Greenfield. We coached AAU together with the swing for a while, then with playground, and now with the Davis Bros AAU program. So Chris and I have been playing, coaching, video gaming, basketball for the better part of over a decade here.
All
Just a
right.
couple big kids that are trying to figure it out.
I'm still one of those.
Exactly.
Yeah. So as you mentioned, Coach Kellett Chris was supposed to join us. I texted him. We'll see if he hops on. So he's got some stuff going on. So maybe we'll be going long enough that he'll have his shit figured out and he can hop on and talk hoops with us. So let's go. We'll go through D1 first. We'll probably just do D1 and D2. 3 and 4 and 5. I guess we can maybe touch on if we really need to, but we'll just kind of go through the sectionals. Ryan, before you jumped on, Chris and I were asking if we were going to make picks. I said, of course I'm making picks. I don't want you guys to step on any toes or piss any coaches off, or maybe you want to. So as we go through, you guys can make your picks if you'd like. And then I think we're going to end on some Holy Cross basketball talk. Holy Cross men's tournament is coming up here at the end of March, and we're going to unveil our rosters. I have a roster, and you guys have a roster. So we'll discuss that that weekend, which is always an awesome 2 weekends. I'm so excited for that. So if you guys got the brackets up, let's go backwards if you want. Let's breathe, because my assumption is we can probably kick through sectional 4 quickest, right? Because Siebert, you're in sectional 3, right?
Yep. You're the MC. We'll follow your lead here.
Yeah, let's start with sectional 4 here. I gotta get up here. So Marquette's the one. No surprise. Any surprises from you guys that you saw any kind of seedings and stuff like that? I know it's.
I would say the only thing that I would mention that I'm sure Brookfield Central and Brookfield East did not want to be playing each other in the first round. Is just something that jumps off the page. Obviously, like seeding is seeding, whatever it is. I'm not like a really too caught up on that, but I think that matchup definitely jumps off the page. Obviously a fun sectional though.
I was listening to Mark Miller and he did his preview, whatever, and he brought up the same thing, like Central and East. Like, has there ever been talk about how if you to make a rule like that, coaches would want a rule that in the first round of games you cannot play a conference opponent?
Well,
Sort of NCAA tournament style.
Yeah,
I think that if I think that's part of an advantage, an argument for the computer seating too, is that if it were human seating, I feel like those coaches would have found a way to not be matched up against each other or been communicating before, because obviously they were in the range of each other. But Brookfield Central, all that aside, is picking a good time of the year to play their best basketball. Have watched them a couple times over the last few weeks, and they've been pretty impressive on film. Definitely a tough 4 seed in the sense that I know people have been talking about that sectional all year, being down or whatever. But Brookfield Central is obviously a really good program and picking a good time of the year to play their best basketball.
But they still
Yeah, I would
go ahead, Ryan.
real quick on the just on the note there about teams not wanting to play teams in their league. Um, Almost and just that it's more practical in college than in high school with all these teams. Like in this one particular, there's what like all 7 of the 8 teams from the Southeast Conference.
Oh,
Chris
okay.
and yours has the whole Big Eight, so there's unfortunately inevitably going to be some of that, even though the
Yeah.
playing a team the third time kind of stinks. And I mean, that's a heavyweight round one matchup with a city rivalry and two really strong, respected, and well coached programs. But I would agree with Chris' take. Brookfield Central's playing really well, and obviously played a loaded non-con schedule. You know, they played Marshfield, Oshkosh North, Wisco. I'm pretty sure they played as well. And then plus you get the Metro, you get Marquette and Tosa West and Sussex, and just every team is good there. So they're not gonna. I don't think they're definitely not going to be an easy out. Even if I would say Marquette is probably the favorite and most talented team and has the best resume.
Is so you guys have both seen Central lately. Are they still running their 2-3 zone?
They're playing quite a bit of zone, but they are playing more man now than they were early in the year. I'm not going to say I've watched every single one of their games, but I watched them against Sussex a couple weeks ago. They had a good win at Sussex, and they played a lot of man there. Um,
I
but
just
no,
I
a good program that, people have been talking about Marquette all year, but Brookfield Central is definitely not. I'm not saying Brookfield Central's walk into that matchup, but they're not going to look at Marquette and be scared. They played them to a single digit game twice. Racine Case is a conference champion, so I'll be interested to see who if anybody can knock Marquette off. Otherwise, they'll get some good games here.
Mm-hmm.
how I don't know anything about Milwaukee Hamilton. How good's Milwaukee Hamilton?
DePouw
They're
played.
talented. Yeah, we played them earlier in the
Okay.
season in December. They have a couple really good guards. A guard named Kamani Hunt that I don't know what he ended up averaging for the season, but I would assume in the mid 20s. Too big, 6'6", 6'7". Pressure, make it a high pace, high tempo type of game. So if you struggle with guard play, they're going to turn you over and they're going to make it tough, make it tough for you. Kind of on that bottom half of the bracket there. I'd like to probably could see them being a team that could make it out from the bottom. But again, it's a unique bracket in that there's a lot of balanced teams. I don't know. What do you think, Chris? And looking at like West Osha, West Allis Central's talented and big, and they're really young, but they played in our Woodland Conference on the other side, so we didn't play them. But they play against Wisco, Pewaukee, Pius, and the heavy hitters of the Woodland West. They're not going to be phased by anything. Franklin was preseason highly touted in Division One and has a senior heavy team, even as an 11 seed. Westosha haven't seen play, but good record and did well. Southern Lakes. That's a kind of interesting section.
Yeah, Milwaukee Hamilton too. Really well coached. Coach Pat Bell is, they really talented team with good guards, but they're a disciplined team as well. Yeah, I agree with you. West Allis Central is not healthy right now. I know. Yusuf Gray's out, I think, for the playoffs, but Westosha is another team, Sam, that plays 2-3. A ton of 2-3. I'm not sure if it's exclusive 2-3, but the game that I watched, they played a team in our league, and I watched them play a lot of 2-3. So Marquette will have to face a bunch of different styles if they want to get through this sectional. And Westosha's got a coach and program that has played a lot of big games and knows how to peak and march. And Coach Bell at Milwaukee Hamilton, same type of thing. They went over to Sun Prairie last year and beat a Middleton team that was, you could argue, one of the best teams in the state. So, there's a lot of different styles and more good teams than this sectional gets credit for.
I watched West Osha a little bit because they played Appleton East, so I obviously had tuned into that so I could watch my boy Joey. And East won. And East had a lot of struggles this year, but they beat West Osha. So, but that's the only
Yeah,
time I've ever watched them.
East is picking a good time to turn on. I mean, what have they won, like 8 in a row? I'm sure
Um,
we'll talk. I'm sure we'll talk. I'm sure you will get a section to talk more about the church when it gets to sexual one.
yeah, we will. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7. It looks like. Yeah, 7 they won in a row. Yeah, we'll talk about him in sectional one. So I mean, my pick's Marquette to come out of here. I think that's probably most people's pick. Do you see any? Before even you guys even decide if you want to pick anything, any games you see like you could see an upset? I mean, I'm sure something will happen at some point in all these sectionals, but are there any ones that like kind of stand out like this? I think is going to happen for sure. I mean, not for sure.
I mean,
Again, because you guys know these teams better than I do. So I don't know if there's anything that you thought like, oh, maybe this team should have been seated higher or something.
I don't know if I'd say
I don't think it's a huge upset, but I think the games I'm really excited to watch would be that Brookfield East, Brookfield Central game at 4:13. I think Kenosha Indian Trail versus King is like a fun, interesting matchup. And I think I don't really know if you can call 7-10 an upset, but I think Kenosha Bradford's going to win.
Okay. Ryan, you got any or no?
Yeah, I think, I just feel like these are all pretty good matchups. Like Franklin, West Allis could be a good game and
Yep.
unique styles playing each other. The Brookfield Bowl round 3, Case and Oak Creek played twice in the regular season. I know Oak Creek was, I think, 8-6 in the Southeast, so had to have, I assume, competed pretty well with Case. The 9-8, it's a lot of interest. This could be one where you look at the bracket on Saturday and you're like, whoa, we got a 12, we got a 11, we have whatever all these numbers, or it could be straight chalk. And be like, either way, it's okay. Well, that makes sense. But I do think Marquette just has so much firepower and so much shooting. Man, you watch them play. Obviously, Minnesota is just almost impossible to keep out of the paint, and then just shooters everywhere. That they have so many guys that can hit 4 or 5 in not just in a game, but in like a stretch in the second half. And again, so much tempo that you just if you're not scoring consistently and getting good looks consistently, they're just that barrage is always coming at some point. And if you can handle it, I guess then you'd have a chance to hang in there. But they're really good, really fun to watch play.
Do you guys think Marquette's obviously the team to beat? Do you guys think Marquette's going to come out of this one?
That would be my pick, yes.
I would think that they would be the team. Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's move on. Let's go to sectional 3. Let's go to Siebert's sectional here. Siebert, you're in the 8-9 against Madison East. You know what I heard?
Yeah.
You know what I heard last week? I didn't realize this. Madison East girls didn't play any non-conference games.
Interesting. I did
Really
not see that.
Isn't that amazing?
That's
now that you say that, I feel like I don't think their boys played 24 games.
And I think to myself, I can't remember if I looked that up too, and I saw theirs wasn't. Theirs was light
yeah,
too.
Madison East, really good team. It's funny listening to Coach DePouw, listening to Ryan talk about Milwaukee Hamilton. I just felt like he was sort of describing Madison East in a way. Like really, really good guards that can score in a variety of ways. 2 lefties actually, so they're like kind of fun to play or fun to watch. They're both like really, really crafty. That are capable of making and taking all sorts of shots. And then they're really big and athletic and tough outside of that too. Coach is actually also a Lawrence Hall of Famer. Good coach, Matt Myota, or I might have mispronounced his name. I kind of feel bad now, but good disciplined team with good guards. It'll be a fun one for us. They play a bunch of different defenses. So yeah, it'll be a fun one.
12-10 was their record.
Got it.
What's the max? 24?
24.
So they played 2 less games than most teams.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let me get back to the bracket here.
But a fun sectional.
Yeah.
When we were getting ready for it, last year we were that team that kind of got that goofy seed, and I could even argue that this year there were things about our seed that were goofy when we were whatever number what it is, but it's one of those sectionals that right when there's 13 teams that all think that I would think that could argue they could go into the gym on any night and think they could beat anybody in the sectional. So no matter what in that first round, you're looking at a tough team. And again, similar to what Coach DePouw just talked about, I think you got a lot of games that are going to be decided by less than 10 points. It's sort of one of the fun things that I've found in moving up to Division One. Just getting through that region, that first weekend is tough. It's a different step up. The sectional weekends those Division Two games are really competitive, and that sectional weekend there may not be a better place to be than high school basketball sectional Saturday, but that regional weekend in Division One, I look up and down the list of the sectional, and every game is going to be competitive.
I think the same, I feel like obviously I've looked closer the last couple of years just because I started the podcast, but like, I feel like this year especially, I look at some of these games that are going to happen on Friday and Saturday, and I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Like, there are some unbelievable matchups this first weekend. Like, and I feel like even like 2 years ago when Jameson was playing when he was a senior, I was just like, it was like getting to sectional was just like, you're good. Like, regionals were just kind of like a walk in the park, like for the top teams. You know what I mean? Like, it was like, we'll get through it. No big deal. And it's like now it's a gauntlet for everyone almost.
No, it's tough. I mean, I look at the bottom. A fun part of this sectional 3 is those bottom 4 teams: Janesville, Craig, Middleton, Janesville, Parker, and Wanakee. I told you the first time we got on a podcast together this year that Janesville Craig was one of my favorite teams in the WIAA this year. They just play a fun style. They get the shot that they want to get every single time down. It might not always be the best shot, but they're taking a 3 that they can make. Middleton is obviously awesome. Everybody talks about Garlock, but they have a point guard that I think is as good as anybody in the Madison area that doesn't get a lot of praise this year. Janesville Parker is, if I looked at all four C sectionals, they're playing. I'm sure they're playing as good as any 15 seed right now. They have a Division I football player that can rebound absolutely everything, and part of Wanakee is just incredible on the offensive glass. Janesville Parker, all 4 of those teams are good. Even then above that, Sun Prairie West has played 2 really, really tough games with Sun Prairie East this year. I think both games were a point. And then Verona, if you go in their locker room, I think they might think they're the best or second best team in the Big 8, sitting there with an 11 seed. So I look at those 2 quadrants thinking like, man, you're walking away from those with a regional plaque, and you had a cool, nice back-to-back couple of days.
Yeah, it is really like, I don't know if it's gauntlet parody driven or like what words you want to use, but when you look at all these brackets, I'm like, wow, this is competitive games all across the board. Like you brought up even the Parker beat Wanakee. I know Wanakee was missing one of their key players, but Parker beat them just a week ago, and now they're playing again in the 215. You get the fun kind of like cross conference matchups with like Muskego and Madison Memorial. Memorial kind of on the opposite, was injured, but was preseason. Were they top 10 or picked to be right near the top of the Big 8 and dealt with injuries all season. Muskego had an awesome year and I think beat Kettle once and played really tight with Arrowhead. So
Memorial's playing better now too. Go ahead.
No, it's like you just look at all these matches. They're all fun. They're all fun matchups. They're all like you can look at it and again be like, all right, these whatever, pick 4 names out of a hat and these 4 teams won. You're like, okay, I could see that happening. That makes complete sense. And then you could pull the other 4 out and be like, yeah, that makes complete sense. Makes complete sense as well. But yeah, it's a fun bracket. It really is, and it's kind of unique in that you got some of those like Big 8 teams playing the third time. I haven't looked at the SP East versus Verona or the Craig Middleton like season series results, if there was anything overly interesting or if they were just good competitive games where the team that shot a little better won. But regardless, you get that third time familiarity element, and then you got the Badger, kind of random Badger teams like Wanakee and you guys thrown in, and then the couple of the heavy hitters in the Classic 8 as well mixed in. It's a fun bracket.
I didn't even realize, as we were just talking, I didn't even realize that you could get a Sun Prairie East, Sun Prairie West Saturday right away against each other.
Yep, and they've played 2 1-point games. Sun Prairie
Okay.
East and Verona was a 1 possession game. DePouw, their second time as well. And then yeah, I know you asked about Middleton Craig. I'm not sure their first time, but I did see their last time. Craig played really well. Craig's one of those teams with high variance though, and that's kind of why like when they're rolling, they are tough. And it was one of those nights for them. But oh, it looks like Middleton did beat Craig the first time. So yeah, they did split.
So 1-1 split, rubber match round 3. That's fun. It's fun stuff.
Did
Tough
you?
draw, but fun stuff.
Yeah. Chris, did you know, or did you have a feeling that you were going to be where you were seated roughly, or was it a surprise at all, or no?
I mean, if you would have asked me, it's funny, we went through like kind of a tough couple weeks there. If you would ask me 2 weeks before the seeding, I would have thought we would have been in that kind of 6 to 8 range, 5 to 8 range. And then when it got time to it, I was honestly thinking that we'd be in that more like 9, 10 area. But honestly, 7, 8, 9, 10 in this sectional, like we just talked about. Um, I think every one of those top 13 or, whatever seeds should be going into a game where they're thinking that they have a chance to win and they're going to be in the mix down the stretch.
What was your best win this year?
Ooh, good question. Well, Ryan's on the podcast, so we played well
Come
against
on,
We
man.
played well against Greenfield at home. Uh, we played well against Greenfield at home. We just had a really good win against Beaver Dam here to finish the regular season. Um, we beat Monona Grove at home. Those are kind of, I would say, the 3 top games that come to mind.
Okay. And when we get to Greenfield in
I
D2,
hope I'm not
obviously,
disrespecting someone
no,
non-conference. I
no.
forgot really bad.
I'll
Oh,
ask you.
Edgerton. Edgerton's got a good team. We played well against them. Um, but honestly, if I'm being completely honest, I would say that's one thing our team is missing is that signature win. We had some opportunities, but I would say we kind of lost at the top of our schedule.
Your
And
last game against Beaver Dam was good. They got a
but I
two
would say
seed.
I would say the Beaver Dam game at the end of the year, along Beaver Dam, Greenfield, and probably Monona Grover, top of the list.
I don't want to rain on your parade, but was your last game against Beaver Dam after the seedings came out?
Yes, it was.
Just saying.
Um, yes, it was.
Okay. Well, Ryan, I'm gonna ask you the same thing, Ryan, when we get to D2, so you can start thinking about what your wins were. But all right. So I don't. It's your sectional, Chris. You don't have to pick you don't have to
Part
pick
of
a.
sorry to interrupt again, but
No, go
part of
ahead.
like I would say like the best win too. Like our conference did well in the non-conference. So like part of what when you say what was your best win, I think immediately to some of the other wins that teams in our league were able to pull. Like I don't even it's a minor thing, but like Watertown went 0-14 in our league, and they were as hard to guard as any team in our league.
Wow.
If they were just a step better defensively, they win a couple games. They went on the road on a back-to-back to Holman, who finished fourth in the Mississippi Valley and won by double digits. So just like wins like that are the thing that come to mind first when well, what were your best wins? Our league did well in the non-conference. Us beating Greenfield well at home just was another example.
That's 3 on the counter that's been referenced without any mention of how the game went last year.
Yep. Last year's last year. What have you done for me lately, Ryan?
Oh, that's
But
good.
prediction in the bracket, we talked about like I think there's 13 really good teams that all think they have a chance. But I think that Kettle can stand on that 1 seed and say that they have a resume that's better than everybody and be a very deserving favorite. They'd be hard to pick against. But at the same time, definitely a fun competitive bracket that has a lot of decent teams in it.
So I don't know much about Kettle Moraine. What do you
Yeah,
guys tell me a little bit about them?
They can really,
scoring
they have
balance.
a
They
lot
just
of good players.
scoring balance. I mean, just there's not one guy that you can really disrespect. They got a guard I really, really like. Shout out Gary Gresh, one of the best coaches in all levels of NCAA. got a really good guard from Kettle Moraine who's going to be a good player there. Will Stuckey, I don't know. He's kind of their catalyst, but at the same time, it's not always with scoring. He can score, but he's also a really good decision maker and competitive guard. And he's joined by four guys that can really, what more than they can all really score, or they're really good football players that really guard. Roman Thompson's a junior I really like that can shoot it.
Yeah, I think a team like them, what makes them so good is they have all that going offensively, where they have every guy can do something, whether it's make quick decisions or shoot it or play make or whatnot. And then they play just zero bad defenders. Like everybody
Nobody
is
soft.
there's
Nobody
nowhere
soft.
you can just like I can attack that guy as a one-dimensional player. And I think when you get to particularly when you get to these like playoff high stress games, that's such an advantage if you have two-way guys, even if there might be some guys that are one way and they're really good offensively, but if you're not good defensively, then you're just going to get targeted in a playoff game that really slows down. That player becomes a lot more just vulnerable than in a regular season game. And what makes Kettle so well, a lot of things besides being really good and disciplined and experienced and all that obvious stuff that you get within 5 minutes of watching them play. It's that you just got nowhere easy to go, or nowhere where you're like, okay, we can just post this guy up and go get the ball 7 feet from the hoop and force a rotation. Just everyone's strong or tough or long or some combination of the three.
Comfortable playing a lot of different styles too. They went to Wanakee, our conference champion, and beat the brakes off them in a really high scoring fast game, and then they beat Arrowhead in a game that's like something like in the 40s or something. So they can beat really good teams in the 80s, and they can beat really, really good teams in the 40s as well.
Here's an interesting stat as I'm just looking at the roster. Stuckey took 106 threes, okay, which is the most on the team. Take a guess how many threes the second most person took.
That would have been Bester, probably.
It was not Bester.
Hmm.
But it's close.
Thompson.
It was Thompson. And now maybe these stats aren't uploaded or not. It almost looks like it's wrong. But it's if you're telling me that they have one guy that has 106, the next closest, 10.
That can't be
right. They shoot a ton of threes.
That can't be right.
They shoot a ton of threes. They shoot it well.
And it's weird because it says all their games played.
The foreign exchange student can shoot it well too. Viome or something.
Oh, yeah. Never mind. Now I see the other column. All right. So, yeah, that's wrong. I didn't look at this other column. They have 3-pointers made, so yeah, it's wrong because Bester has 43 made. Why
Bester, Viome, and Thompson can all really shoot it.
Yeah. Why do they have that? Where stats get put in like that? How does that happen?
Maybe they don't put any of them in, and he's just like near the top for the 3-point challenge. I'm not positive.
So it says Bester's 43 of 7, and it says Thompson's 37 of 10.
Ryan, you're the guy to answer on this because
I don't know.
The Greenfield Hustling Hawks are anti-stats on WISports too.
Ryan.
Mine are 100% up to date as of 9:52 a.m. this morning. I had a mad dash to get all my attempts in this morning. Otherwise, we were really, really shooting a high percentage for a while there. So I'd never turned the ball over in my tenure.
What is what is your roadblock or hiccup with getting stats in a timely fashion, Brian?
I take my book like the night of and put the field goal makes and whatnot in, and then after that, after the takes huddle, sometimes 12 hours, sometimes 23 hours and 59 minutes to get it done, and then I go back and watch it for my own purposes and doing the corrections and whatnot, and then I've always just put all the rebounds, assists, steals, blocks, everything except the missed shots and the turnovers. I've left out until today. I'm a changed man, so I am no longer a part of that only makes community. It hurt me a little bit to hurt me a little bit to leave, but I had to do it we had all conference voting today for the Woodland. So I had to, I was told by my athletic director that I needed to get it done. And so I got it done.
So when you guys go get stuff from Huddle, whatever, then you have to go to another, like, is it a website that with sports that you log into where you like enter stuff in manually then that way, I'm assuming?
Yep. And it's pretty user friendly. It's a couple clicks and you have like a admin login for your team.
Okay.
You just click on the team. It's a very user friendly, straightforward process. I don't know why I always only put makes in, and then it became kind of a running joke between myself, Chris, and one of our friends, Steve Hicklin from Lake Mills, that Greenfield has never missed. I think I just did it my first couple of games last year and just kept it going.
Oh, that's funny.
I'll make one shameless plug with Sports. If if the nicest resource that fans and parents are using is they want to check out stats after games, schools that update their stats accurately and efficiently should get one free admin account.
There you go. Okay.
We'll make your product better by uploading our stats quickly if we feel obligated to do it, maybe. I think it helps the kids and helps the product better if information's out there for people. More people are talking about it, more people are engaged, more people are interested. Some coaches think there's some scouting advantage to it, but if you're truly going to scout my team based off of the numbers on the sheet, the raw numbers too, not with any like actual information,
Right, no context.
then our staff is going to outwork you in preparation. Not saying it's actually going to impact the game, but we're going to watch the way that your shots are created, not just whether they go in or not.
Yeah, we talked about that with Kellett before, I think, too. Like, if you're just going to try to scout some off a box score, you're going to get your ass kicked.
At the highest of levels, I think.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so predictions I was all set on saying like that Sun Prairie West is coming out of this one, and then all of a sudden I'm like, shit, they might play Sun Prairie East on Saturday and might not make it out of the weekend.
I mean, the Verona is going to be a tough game for them too. I mean, I think the bottom half of that bracket's a gauntlet. If I think Janesville Craig's really good. Middleton has as good of an inside-outside combo. Wanakee's Wanakee. Sun Prairie West will not have an easy game in those second two games. And it's hard. It would be hard to pick against Kettle. But again, like I said, a lot of teams that think they're good. I'm checking. I think Sun Prairie West and Verona was really close too.
Well, Sun Prairie East plays Verona the first weekend or on Thursday or Friday.
I know both those were 1-point games. Verona might have even beat them. Oh no, never mind. Sun Prairie West beat them by 15 twice. Yeah, that would be my take.
Kettle's okay. Well, Kettle, obviously they're the one. Kettle's the team to beat. I don't know. I won't be surprised. I mean, there's a lot of these sectionals. I'm not going to be surprised. Well, I don't know. I was going to say sectional 2 here, but okay. We'll move on to sectional 2. The De Pere sectional. And I was just going to say, I think I would be surprised if De Pere did not come out of there, but it's a loaded sectional.
Loaded. Yeah, you look at interesting matchups or whatever. I really want to win on Friday. I really want to beat Madison East, but whoever's sitting at home, you should have a screen on Homestead versus Sussex Hamilton because that will be an awesome game on Saturday. Also, shout out Tim Franks, having an awesome senior year, and I'll put my hand up and say I used to question how he's gotten good. And had an awesome senior year, and he's just not phased. And I'm excited to see what kind of game he can have in these big playoff games as a senior. Bottom of the bracket too. No, tons of good teams. Those top 1 through 6 as sectionals as good as anybody.
Yeah, I'm just looking through it now too. Yeah, I mean, you might get a Germantown Oshkosh North game on Saturday.
That's a great game, great match. They just played recently. I think North beat them at Germantown, but I didn't watch it, so I don't know what if it was bad shooting or some odd stuff happened and they fell behind or whatever type of deal. Exactly what it looks like, but that's a heavyweight second round second round matchup. Yeah, Sussex, or the possibility of Sussex versus Homestead. Yeah, there's some, even I know they played De Pere in the second round, but Fondy as a 9 seed has beat some really good teams in the FVA, and now De Pere is a monster, obviously, and deserves every the right to be the favorite and be the king until they aren't anymore. But there's some really good teams in this sectional.
What would you guys do? So let's talk about this. And as coaches, playing De Pere, and maybe, I mean, it's, you guys haven't had to play him, so you wouldn't, maybe haven't done the scouting report, but like, and how much you've watched him. But what would you do to try to, what would be like your strategy to try to beat De Pere?
I honestly haven't watched him enough, and I would have to know more about, funny. It's like you say that you asked this and that in me wanting to talk about De Pere. I feel the key to beating those really good teams is you got to know everything about numbers 4 through 8 so well. I know I think Price Gregory doesn't get the respect he deserves. First of all, I think he's one of the best two-way players in 2025. And then Kinzinger and Hornseth obviously get all the praise, and those are the guys I know a lot about. But I think to truly pull off that upset, you got to know every ins and out about 4 through 8 and in where their weaknesses are, because those are the guys that you got to quote unquote expose and put in positions to have to do things. With that being said, I think the Domovsky kid's awesome in games that I've watched. Like really, really good. He's a kid that nobody know, like the state rankings, and I think Mark and Evan Flood are some of the hardest working dudes in the state, and what their job is impossible. But but a guy like Roan Domovsky
Yeah.
would score 24 points a game at so many different schools in the state. And then willing hands too, like but at the same time, to beat those guys, those are the two that you need to know where their weaknesses are, and you got to put them in positions to. Kinzinger is going to hurt you no matter whatever, and you need to have a Domovsky 1 for 8 game, a willing hands whatever game. You know Easy to say, oh, I'd try to attack Hornseth, get him in foul trouble. Okay, you're going to get blocked 6 times and be
Right.
down 15-2 before the game's going. That all sounds fun and dandy, but I think you just got to really understand how to limit their role guys.
Or just have Cantu Knipple on your team.
Yeah,
Right.
that's one thing. Funny, we were talking about that at Oregon today.
That was literally exactly what I was going to say. Is you just, if you want to beat De Pere, you get Con 2, and then a bunch of other guys that are really good and selfless and awesome, and let him be amazing down the stretch, and voila, you beat you beat De Pere. No, they're just like so aggressive but patient at the same time. Like like every single guy is able to, when they have their opportunity, just go and do it and do it so efficiently and easy, but yet doesn't force anything. And they're all like, especially obviously Zach Kinzinger and Hornseth could go high volume and score a ton of points, and team would still probably win just as often, but they play so unselfishly and defend so hard, and you just like everything is done at a really high level. They're an impressive team to watch. I don't even have a great answer to your question. I think Chris did a good job talking about, like, you have to try to attack some of the people who have very little weaknesses, but have some more weaknesses than the Big Ten player and the Northern Iowa player do.
Yeah.
But they are really, really impressive.
Did you guys see what Hornseth's shooting from field goal percentage?
I'm going to guess 77.
Yeah, it's exactly 77.
Yeah, I mean,
Wow.
I'd love to see their huddle stats to know like their team effective field goal percentage.
And offensive efficiency, I bet they're like 1.25 points per possession. Like,
yeah. Germantown, back to the bottom of the bracket. I watched them earlier in the year against Sussex. They got a sophomore that's awesome. Another dude that I feel doesn't get enough respect is Khalil Jones. If he gets his left hand going and can go both ways, he's going to be big time. But you said they did play Sussex. I was looking at they played
Oshkosh
Oshkosh North recently. and they did lose, but I just remember they just lost to Janesville Craig. My Cougars from Craig are playing good basketball right now,
Yeah,
guys.
they did.
Um,
Yeah, they lost to him last
Craig is
Saturday.
a scary 7 seed. But
Germantown's good though. They have really senior heavy and good outside shooting. The McKenna
yeah,
kid is the best shooter, but I want to say they have probably 5 or 6 like seniors that are playing
Yep.
college basketball, Division III level, and I assume have been playing together their whole lives. And sometimes those teams with that, I don't know, those experience and a lot of different ways to score the ball and are gonna maybe fight a little extra for each other. Now in this bracket, it's a tough ask no matter what. But that team's had a really good season.
So there's your answer. You asked about, the Oshkosh North game that they played. They shot 10 of 35 from three,
Okay.
and Oshkosh North was 9 of 15 from three. And Oshkosh North was not a great shooting team from three at all season.
Yeah,
yeah.
that's tough when you get
Stevie went
when
5
you
for
get,
6.
Yeah.
when you get 20 more attempts and only one more makes
Yep.
the math. The
Yep.
math. It's tough.
There you go. All right. What else is going on in that bracket? I'm trying to think of what's
Oh yeah, too.
DePuy.
Like with Oshkosh North, with how many threes they give up too. Like
Yeah.
I'm sure they don't want to. When they came out and thought they were a top 3 seed, they can't be super excited to see Germantown that 6
No.
spot. And Hartford has beaten DePouw. We got to make a shout out. Hartford is Coach Smith at Hartford has been one of DePauw and I don't talk to Coach Smith very often, so this will be a funny shout out if he hears it. He was one of Coach DePauw's and my favorite team this year. DePauw, you want to pull it up? They had
Yeah.
they had one of they've had like just one of the oddest schedules and results in the state. Just a funny like tidbit. Let me pull this up really quick because I don't want to.
I don't want to misquote them, but they've won some. They had a stretch
So
where
their
they like
season
won by
started.
40,
So their
lost
season
by
started.
40.
Their season started with a 30-point win against Madison Memorial, who
Yeah.
DePauw and I at the time thought was, I think we picked to win the Big Eight in like a little preseason pick 'em that we have. Uh, then they lose to Nicolet the next week by 70 points
I haven't
and
seen it.
Whitefish
Holy.
Bay. Then they lose to Homestead by 40 and then beat Grafton by 20, who who at the time Grafton
Yeah.
was ranked. And then right after beating Grafton, they lost. DePauw and I were talking about Hartford, sneaky, and then they lose to Kaukauna by 40 points.
30.
Just kind of an up and down year with some
That's
funny.
crazy. I'm looking at it now too. That is crazy.
Then they
Huge
beat
win.
Grafton by 44 the second time.
Yep, they beat Grafton 97-53 end of the year. They lost to Nicolet by 70 points the first time through, and then they lost by 16 the second time through. They
Oh,
they lost to Slinger by 15 and then beat them by 15. They've kind of had so
They've had
like
some fun scores.
yeah,
again
I'd say.
for a playoff team, obviously high variance and Germantown's good, but Hartford's capable of beating good teams and has played good teams this year. So they won't be scared going into Germantown.
Yeah.
And Chris Smith does a lot of prep work. He's a hard working coach. And with 4 days to prepare, they'll go in ready to guard Germantown.
How's Oconomowoc? I know Kellett
I like them.
they just played them. I know Oconomowoc's got Fond du Lac the first game.
I like Oconomowoc. They're good. They're deep. Good scoring balance. I'd like to pull up some stats to actually speak with some knowledge. But Coach Benish is a good coach. Saw them last summer a bunch. Then they left our sectional, so didn't really look at much. But seeing them in the summer was always impressed with just the depth and the amount of dudes that can sub into the game and be good. But
Well, I mean, they're 12 and 12. I think I said 12 and 12. Look, they lost to Sun Prairie East, Arrowhead twice, Kettle Moraine.
yeah, it looks like they play 10
Like,
guys every game.
I mean, they have really good
Obviously,
losses.
no, and they
Mhm.
play a good competitive schedule.
Yeah.
And they hang in with good teams. I know that the Hoffman kids can score, and I know that the Canigliaro kid has been on varsity for a really long time. So they got experienced guards and a lot of depth and scoring balance. So hard team to prepare for. But Ford obviously is as good a coach as anyone in the FVA too.
Yeah, I mean, I would assume like that's probably not the greatest matchup for Economolog to think, oh, great, we get to play an FVA team right off the bat, first night.
Yeah, but like they're not playing. It's not like the FVA playing against a bad league either.
Yeah, true.
Oconomowoc has played a tough schedule, so
Yeah.
I don't think that Fond du Lac will get the like typical FVA intimidation. Like they got to
Yeah.
go on the road to a team that's played a tough schedule.
Yeah, true.
And it's a team that has beaten two, they granted they're the bottom of the league, but they beat Oshkosh West by 32 at Oshkosh West. So
do we think that anyone but DePouw can come out of here? I don't know Arrowhead. I was surprised I mean, I don't know much about Arrowhead. I've heard so many good things about them, but do we think that they could beat DePouw?
I was going to bring up Arrowhead. Like, I think they won the silver ball last year, right? Like they deserve at least the won the silver ball, won the Classic 8 this year, beat Marquette, but DePouw is so good.
DePouw's amazing, but I will say Arrowhead has that like D1 football player, like bully ball big, and sometimes Division I basketball players, like the last guy that they actually want to play against is a football player on the inside. I wish I watched more of the Jace Gilbert kid play from Arrowhead, but his scoring numbers and his efficiency is impressive. But again, this is another one of those brackets where I kind of feel like it's hard to pick against the 1 seed, which is almost kind of like the theme of these of sectionals 2, 3, 4 in Division I, that you have like really competitive sectionals, but each 1 seed is probably a deserving 1 seed.
Yeah, they have 2 losses. The Wisconsin Lutheran first game of the year, and then they lost to Kettle Moraine. Like that's the only 2 teams they've lost.
Yeah, they beat Marquette.
They're big, athletic. They play really, really hard. Bennett Basic is like as hard playing of anybody in the state. They're kind of
shoot it really well.
Yeah, and their bench shoots it. I'll be interested in that. Basic doesn't have dudes like Kinzinger guard him every game, so like so he usually is just so dominant. But I'll be interested to see what he can do. He's a year older and he's obviously really, really good Division I player, but Zachel and Price is as good a defender too, and I think he guards too.
Yeah, I'm excited if that ends up being the sectional final. That'll be those I love. We can get some state games before we actually get to state. It's awesome.
This sectional feels like you get. You could possibly get that if the chalk would hold and you get a Homestead versus DePouw, and
DePure's going to play a really tough game. Yeah, sectional semi.
North versus Arrowhead. Like those are some. You go down those rosters. There's some players on those teams, and players and experience and different styles. Those would be some. If that would hold, those could be some pretty sweet sectional games.
Yeah, I agree. Anything else, or should we move to sectional one? Any upsets you think? Well, we hashed everything out. We can go to sectional one. We good? Sectional one, the most fun sectional, I think, of the 4. The most like, would we be surprised if Hortonville went to state? Maybe surprised a little bit.
I'd be surprised,
but not shocked. We wouldn't be shocked, probably. I just brought them up because I'm just thinking of like there's so many of these games where anything could happen. First off, if I wish Kel was on here, by far the best first round game, right? Kimberly Appleton North, is that by far the best first round game in the 100%,
state? 100%.
Not even in the sectional, in the state. In the state, it is the best first round game.
Yes,
it's insane. Like it is insane that they are the 8-9 in this sectional. And that happens on Friday night, and one of those teams is going to lose. Mind-blowing.
That's a great matchup. It really is. How did the second game? Did you see the second game they played? I watched the first one. The Wild, that was when the kid made the half quarter, and the OT game. I did not see the second one.
I'm trying to think. Yes, I was there. Yeah. No, they won them both.
Yep.
Appleton North won both.
Won by double digits both times too.
Yeah, so that was the game where Kimberly was up Kimberly was up 8, and then Tamari hit a 3 at the buzzer to go into half. So then they were down 5, and then North went on like a 10-0 run to start the second half, and then got like a double-digit lead and never looked back. So North is one, but North is also they played their best basketball in the first half of the season, let's just say. They've had their struggles to end the year here. And Kimberly plays everyone close for the most part, and they have been unable to close a lot of teams out and a lot of games out, and they've got a bunch of losses because of it.
Big win over MAS the other day.
Yeah, very big. Yes, very big. That was one game they actually were able to close out. But I couldn't even tell you. I have no idea who's going to win this game.
Yeah, no, I mean, I wish Kellett was on here bad, actually, now you say this, but you know, I know they've lost a few in a row, but it's never as bad as he thinks it is, and as good as he thinks it is, especially, and that's never more true than for a coach like Chris Kellett. You know, they're playing well in their last few. Appleton East, like we said, has won 7 in a row against tough schedule. That was at Appleton East. Then they had to go to Oconomowoc, who we just talked about as a good deep team. And then, you know, they played Neenah tough, who's as good as anybody in this sectional. You know, Neenah is probably sitting at practice tomorrow thinking they're going to state again. And Appleton North just played them tough. So you know, and they have basketball players. They got kids that Grant Hardy, Nathan Ramus, Will Sweeney, those dudes have played a lot of basketball. And they make the right decision with the ball on time. And, you know, Kimberly is obviously big and athletic and deep, but, you know, Appleton North, sometimes for those young kids, the best thing for them is they believe they can beat Kimberly because they've already done it twice.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
You know, I think that they'd rather have that matchup than someone like a Neenah, who they didn't score 40 points on either time. I think Appleton North, I think Kellett, you know, however he's feeling about his team, getting to the sectionals and seeing Neenah on the other half of it, he's got to feel decent.
Massey Ratings has Kimberly favored by 4, just to let you know. I just decided I'd look it up, but
that's going to be a good game, man. That's going to be a good game. Yeah. I feel like that one's going to have some swings in it. Just someone's up 10 and then they're down 4 and then back. That's a good basketball game.
Yeah, that's the game I plan on being at Friday night. So, what else bracket wise? Yeah, there's just like the 13 seed Appleton East is going to go to Eau Claire Memorial, and they're going to beat Eau Claire Memorial. You guys know that, right? Like, that's going to happen.
Well, the church is going to make it.
Right. Right. He's out, and the church. I mean, I'm expecting almost just like last year. Remember, every FVA team won except like the top 2 teams that were predicted in the beginning of the season, Oshkosh North and Appleton East. I'm predicting it. I think all the FVA teams, well, obviously Kimberly or North is one of them's going to lose, but like, I think Kaukauna will beat Wausau West. I think Appleton East is going to beat Eau Claire Memorial. I think Hortonville is going to beat number 3 Superior. Neenah is going to beat Eau Claire North. Appleton West will not beat Holman. Actually, Appleton West might beat Holman. I have no idea.
Don't know a ton about Holman.
Holman has good guards. Holman does have good guards, but they're small and they play them all together. So, you know, the Watertown game, like I talked about, is the only one that I watched. And Watertown, like I said, is as hard to guard as anybody. They run good offense, but they really lit up Holman. But I like Holman's guards. I don't know much about Appleton West. I think Gage is a really good coach and as underrated of a coach in the state, just because of kind of the landscape of the FVA somewhat and the talent he has right now. But and I know he'll have his guys ready to play at Holman, but I do like their Holman's guards. Surprised to see that team as a 15 seed again, or like, to be honest. But again, that speaks to the strength of the sectional.
Yeah. I think the biggest, Miller mentioned this in his podcast too, but it's like, I think one of the biggest things in this sectional is like that, you know, FVA is considered one of the best conferences in the state, whether it's the best or whatever, it's one of the top. And they're the highest ranked team in the sectional is a 5. Which is crazy.
Great point.
Which is Kaukauna.
That's a great point.
That is a great point.
Those 2 Valley teams are Marshfield and Spash are both really good.
They are very good, yes. Very good.
I think part of the issue with that, and like again, there's no real way to fix this with the how the formula or whatever people want to talk about. But one of the reasons, like, and again, I hate to praise our own conference because I truly do think that the Badger at large was very strong this year. It was probably our best year since I've been in the league, top to bottom, deepest. But I'll also fully admit I think that the conference was very overseeded. I thought we got a lot of respect in the formula, and I think part of it is due to we only play 14 conference games. So we have 10 non-conference games to really like establish how strong of a league we are and win games outside of the league. And also play some different we can expose ourselves to so many different styles and types of teams and get a lot of different wins. Where in the FVA, you got 18 conference games. You just have less of an opportunity to prove your resume outside of the conference.
That's true.
So I think it hurts you in the seating and that you're beating each other up, and then you just have less of an opportunity to make the climb together.
Yeah. Let's have you guys watched much of Marshfield and Stevens Point at all? I want to give them their respect because they're obviously the 1 and 2 seeds. So
yeah, Marshfield, as good of 3 players as anybody in the state with Pole, Hinson, and Lee, and then good big inside that they're physical that helps the big strong. I think that big inside. I feel bad that I don't have his name up. I like giving dudes like this shout outs actually.
That's why we can look up stuff as we talk.
Yeah, look up the big because everybody writes about Pole, Lee, and Hinson all year, but the big kind of allows. I think he allows Pole to like play the way that Pole wants to play, and guard the guys that Pole wants to play. I want to say his name's
Ethan
Connect.
Yeah, Ethan Connect.
Yeah. He just allows Pole to more do the things he really likes to do. But they guard, and then they played good defense and they really shoot it. They'll be a hard out. But at the same time, they can't be looking at Appleton North or Kimberly like it's an easy one.
No.
It'll be a really tough game. And like we talked about, getting through the regional and Division I is just different than you realize. That first weekend is tough.
Yeah,
and then Stevens Point, I've watched them too. They got one of my favorite players in the state that people don't, and I watched them against Wanakee, and they are as good defensively as any team I watched this year. They got a kid named Grant Chandonah that I think is awesome. I know he's the quarterback there too, college athlete in some sport. But they just got a lot of dudes that really, really guard and make winning plays. Carter Coombs is I think as underrated a point guard as anybody in the state for Stevens Point too. But they're good.
And both those teams, I mean, their losses, they have for the most part good losses. I mean, Stevens Point lost to Marshfield twice.
Yeah.
And then Wausau East, and then Marshfield lost to Neenah and Eau Claire North.
No, Stevens Point really good defensively. I would say one thing, if I could, let me look at the bracket. I don't know if the one thing I would say is that this, the Stevens Point, they really do like to lean on their defense.
Mm-hmm.
If they haven't played a lot of teams that they haven't played a ton of games that got really, really high scoring. And I don't know who wants to play that game. Like if they play Neenah, it's going to be just,
Oof.
It might be the 2 best. It's Virginia versus Virginia.
Yeah.
But and Stevens Point, they are big and strong and tough and in position. But no, I don't know if they'll run into that matchup against a team that's really going to do this to them and get them out of.
You might be surprised. They average 63 points a game.
I mean, they're good offensively, but they are so hard to score on in the half court. And maybe I watched them in the wrong game. I watched them against Wanakee, who just was by far the best offensive team in our league and the fastest. And Wanakee just got nothing in transition. And just the amount of times when Wanakee usually got good looks against teams in our league, Spash just had dudes there. And it looked simple. Like when you watch those really good Nina teams and just looks like five guys in a stance and nobody's really working that hard, but in reality, the ball's just not getting in the paint. That's what Spash kind of is defensively.
Yeah, I watched them when they came. They came and played at Kimberly. I was at the game. It was there. I was impressed. I mean, they beat Nina early in the year too, but yeah, they're a good team. I mean, it's obviously that is proven. They obviously lost to Marshfield twice, but um, there's a reason they're the number 2 seed.
Yeah, what are they? They went 5-0 against the FVA. I'm seeing right now.
Who's that? Spash?
Spash.
No, they lost. Oh yeah, that's right. They did beat Kimberly. Yeah, my bad. Yeah. Who else did they play? Oh,
Appleton.
yeah, they beat it.
They
Yeah, they
won
barely beat
Appleton.
it. Yeah, that was a
They
close game
won
with
at
Appleton
App
East
East.
too.
They beat Oshkosh West. They won
Yeah,
at Kimberly. They beat Appleton West, and they beat Nina.
yeah. It's a good
So I mean,
resume.
really impressive non-conference. Also won at Wanakee. Um, One at DeForest. Um, they really impressive non-conference resume for Spash. Like really deserving. We
Yep.
can talk. The FVA is amazing, but Spash is not an undeserving 2 seed by any means.
No, I totally agree. I think that was kind of I don't think anyone was surprised that Marshfield and Spash were 1 and 2.
Like I know you talk about the upsets of we kind of expect Hortonville maybe to go up there and win, and that 3 seed may be a surprise. And obviously the formula struggles with
Yeah.
their schedule with the out of state stuff. But
Yep.
Spash is good. I don't.
That Spash Nina potential sectional semi,
And
first
yeah,
to first to
might be a race to
50,
45.
45.
But I
And
mean,
they
they're
both
both really good offensively too. And Nina is comfortable. Nina likes to run. I mean, but they also want to hang their hat on being one of the best defensive teams in the state. So no matter what the pace is, it would be a dogfight, and there wouldn't be a lot of quote unquote easy baskets scored. When they played the first game, it was 55-47. And, pace in any playoff game is likely to slow down, I think, a little bit.
Yeah.
Just with less dudes on the court and importance of possession up a little bit.
So I mentioned a little bit before.
You know about game 7 unders, right? Spread and bread.
Maybe not as much as you do, apparently.
No, I'm out. I'm out.
So I mentioned Kakana a little bit. What are our thoughts on Kakana? So I haven't heard I haven't heard for sure yet, but the rumor is that Carson will be back for sectionals, which is a huge addition if that's actually ends up happening.
Yeah, wish
totally
I watched more of their games if I'm being honest, but I know they're playing good basketball right now.
Yeah.
I see they just lost. But
yeah, they lost to Fond du Lac.
From what I've heard, they're playing much better defense than they were in the beginning of the year. And I watched more of them early in the year.
Yeah.
The last I watched them was the Indian Trail game, which was I don't think was their best game. And I've heard they're defending much better. And I'll always say this about Kakana, like they're gonna go as their defense goes. Like if with O'Neill and Jensen, obviously personnel, they can affect as many shots as anybody in the state, but
Yep.
I think they got to hang their hat on being athletic and tough and big. The shooting is always going to be there for them.
Yeah, they had won 8 in a row before they lost to Fond du Lac in what essentially was a meaningless game. It didn't obviously seedings were out, but I think at all back it changes, and who knows how much what he's going to be able to give you. Right, he's been out with an elbow. Like you don't just come back and start bombing threes probably and feel like you're 100% normal. But it gives
I definitely wouldn't say it was a meaningless game in the sense that Kakana was tied for second in the league. And like no coach, I don't care what anybody tells you, no coach wants to move down the conference standings. Whenever the game is. Kakana tied for second with Nina with Appleton North 1 game behind is not. I think they're.
Does that really? This is for both of you. Does that really matter that do you really give a shit if you finish second in conference or third in conference?
I care.
Do you really?
I mean, maybe it's a growing up in the Bo Ryan thing and like being a Bo Ryaner, like he was top 4 every year in the Big Ten. I think it's better to be second place in the FVA than third.
All right.
For sure.
Yeah, I mean Nina took second and Kakana finished third, and then
I would say
North
if
and
there's a
Kimberly right behind.
non-conference game after, every game matters too. Like 24 games is so small in the grand scheme of it. Like these kids play thousands of games their whole life just to have 24 games.
Well, it's an easy way to spin it, right? You lost, and it's like, hey guys, we lost a game that's meaningless, right? With seedings were out, no big deal. But then you want to win because it's like we were going into the playoffs on a high note, you know, and
Right.
they would
Yeah,
have had a 9 game winning streak, but
you're in a good spot no matter what in that sense. Like if you win, okay, we're playing well going into the playoffs. If you lose, well, we got time to reset. If you don't play till next Friday, you have whatever 8 days for them until they play again. And as long as nobody got hurt, and heck, sounds like they're getting healthier going into the playoffs here. You have a lot of reasons to turn the page real quick, no matter if you're second in the conference or third or whatnot.
all right, so picks. What do we think? This is one where you're gonna have picks all over the place from whoever you talk to, is my assumption.
Yeah. I'm probably the wrong guy to say this, but I look at Nina and
Oh man, I took my pick.
I look at
Oh,
Nina.
come on, you guys.
I know.
I look at that
Oh,
Nina. I look at that Nina draw, and I know that the Nina seniors won the 8th grade state championship in the Oregon Youth Tournament 4 years ago. I think they got unfinished business.
Yeah, you know they didn't win the actual state. They won an Oregon tournament for God's sakes. They didn't win anything else.
Actually, matter of fact, I think they might have beaten a Kakana team in the championship, but I can't remember.
Well,
I'll have to ask my sources.
there is one senior for Kakana that's playing right now, so and that's Carson Haas, so he's not playing. So that's kind of irrelevant.
Yeah, it was not the state tournament like
Yeah,
that
right.
that
Because
it
you
is
mentioned that
nowadays.
last time, and I was talking to someone, and someone's like, Nina did not win state in 8th grade or something like that in that grade. I don't know who it was, and so that I went back and looked at like who did. It was not them. And then I'm like,
No,
well, it was just a stupid
Nina just
tournament.
simply won the Oregon Youth
Yeah,
Tournament to clarify.
there's prestigious Oregon youth
the
tournament.
real state tournament.
The Appleton North sophomores also won as 8th graders. Actually, fun fact. Um, I'm trying to think who won for the junior year or for 2025, but I can't remember.
I mean, if I really care, I can find out. It's not that hard to. It's on the website, but um, so you guys are both picking Nina.
I think I'm gonna say whoever wins Nina Spash. So maybe I'll differentiate and go Wisconsin Valley Conference and just go anti the over and back listening contingent here and take Spash. I really liked them. I know
Spash
they
was
lost
tough.
twice. I know they lost twice to Marshfield, but I really liked how they played. Those were
I
the only two
agree.
games I watched, and then I watched them beginning of the season against Nina. I think at the very beginning of the season, just a random watch. I like that team. I like that team a lot, but man, Nina is playing so well. Just it feels like a movie you've seen before, right? Where they're just gonna go on the run here, and they're gonna be up 8 with 2 months to go in the sectional final, and uh, knock
It's
down their free throws, and there it is.
it's not a movie I enjoy watching just for that. And Nina, people relax. Everyone calm down. It's called jealousy.
I bet
Um,
most of your listeners are probably becoming Nina people now.
yeah, right.
I'd love to see like a map breakdown.
I actually can see. I think I can see states where people listen. I have to do Apple Podcast does a bunch of stuff that you can kind of sift through. I'm not going to go Nina, and I'm not going to go Spash. I was tempted to say Kakana. I think I said Kakana before we started the podcast tonight. I was tempted to. I'm taking Marshfield. Why would I not? Plus Coach Fisher is a friend of the pod as well.
Yeah,
Um, they've proven that they like three great kids. Pohl and Hinson both shoot over 40% from three.
really shoot it.
Yeah. They lost to Neenan early, which was the weirdest game still to this day in probably the high school state this year, that they got beat by like 20 some against Neenah, which is just so strange to me. I'm going to trust them. They're 22. They've lost 2 games and they've got some really, really good players.
If I were to say one thing, and I love Marshfield, I'm not trying to gripe. I think it's really hard to go to state in Division 1 when you're your whole team. I'm not even going to say they're all their whole entire team is back next year.
Is the whole team is?
Essentially, they play one senior that like a defensive guard. Um, the dude is a good defender. Is a senior. Other than him, I feel like they're all back. So it's just hard to win two sectional games with juniors and sophomores and juniors. But it's not a bad pick, you know. And I would say it's hard to beat Spash 3 times, but Marshfield is the 1 seed for a reason. And like I said, in every other bracket, I think it may be the year of the 1 seed in D1.
You do realize if Appleton North beats Kimberly, then the all sophomore and junior Marshfield team is going to play the all sophomore and junior Appleton North team, and one of them is going to go to sectionals.
And the all friend of the pod coach matchup too.
Yeah,
unintentionally might have to be live set up there for.
I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have to freaking go to Marshfield. See, that's what sucks. That's what sucks about this weekend is Kimberly girls are playing too, and if they win Thursday night, then they're going to play Saturday for a sectional to go to state. And
should they win? Who do they play?
They play Hartford. It'll be a tough game. It'll be a close game.
You'll be over in Marshfield, 75 feet away from the court watching.
Yeah, right. No shit.
Appleton North.
So I don't know if I'd go to Marshfield to watch that. I might go watch Kimberly girls.
Might be able to do both. Those
you'll be sitting on your couch with Homestead Hamilton on one screen.
Oh my God, there's gonna be so much basketball. Okay, so you guys got Nina. I'm taking Marshfield.
With a Spash asterisk in there that we would like to share.
Is there? I don't know. Siebert, you never answered me. I texted you and Kelt this. Do you know how they reseed when they get to state?
I think it's the same computer formula. And to answer your question, that you asked if Nina went, would they be the 3 again? Like because of being
probably
6?
Probably, yeah.
Well, I would say if Marquette made it from sectional 4, they would be seated ahead of Nina. But if
yeah, I would for sure if it's De Pere, Kettle Moraine, Marquette, and Nina's the 4 without a doubt. That's you know what I mean. Yeah. I agree with that. But I was just curious. We were talking about it, but so if it is it's the same computer system with those playoff games added in.
That's my understanding. Yes,
believe so.
Or actually, does it not take the playoff games, DePouw? Do you know?
I would think it has to take the playoff games in, but I don't know for sure. So I don't want to speculate.
I would think it would have to too after last year when Nina went from a 6 seed to a 3 seed.
I would think it does too because who did they jump Kettle?
Yes.
Yeah.
Who
was the 1 seed,
and Kettle would have had the lowest strength of schedule through their sectional opponents.
Yeah.
Right. But they were like a 1 seed that was 14-10 in the regular season. That was an odd sectional last year.
Yeah. Okay. So let's assume. Well, whatever. Who do we think is going to win state? Who do we think is going to win each of those matchups? Provided
I would have a hard time picking against De Pere.
Yeah.
In Division 1.
Yeah. You have to play so well. I feel like you'd have to play so well and catch. How did Marquette do against De Pere? I know they played at the WBY. De Pere obviously won, but
it was pretty close. I think De Pere ended up winning by double digits, but I think it was actually a relatively close game. I could be wrong.
That's the first team that comes to mind, sort of, in that. And again, they'll have already played Arrowhead, potentially. But Marquette is the first team that comes to mind to me. But again, with how much rim protection and defense De Pere has at the basket, I feel like it's a tough game for Minnesota to really make his presence felt. De Pere beat them by 17.
Yeah, maybe it wasn't as close as I thought. Let me what was the halftime score? That's 39-34 at half. 5-point game at half. So would you rather see De Pere or Marquette, or would you rather see De Pere Kettle Moraine?
I think, Kettle played him tough last year at state.
They did.
Kettle did play him tough at state.
They did.
They played him tough. They played it slower and, were able to score efficiently. So maybe some of that familiarity matters. My initial reaction was, Marquette could make 18 threes and, it could be, a wild one that way. It's just so hard to stop De Pere. They're so efficient. I just ever since brought up, I'd love to see their huddle stats on what their points per possession is. I've been thinking about trying to ballpark like what that might possibly be. I watched them play Pewaukee the other day on the stream. It's just, man, both those teams are so good, but man, DePouw just gets great shot after great shot after great shot. But Kettle did play him tough last year at State, and I don't remember what the final was. It was a 5, right, or 10, somewhere in that.
It was a lot closer, I think, than anyone thought it was going to be, me included. I don't know. Okay, so we're all picking DePouw to win it all.
Yeah, that would be my pick.
Okay.
Agree.
Anything else on D1, or we get to D2 here? All right, D2. It's late, so let's maybe not spend as much time on D2. No offense, Ryan.
It's fine.
Yeah, Holy Cross is where the money's at anyway.
Yeah, we gotta get to this Holy Cross roster stuff. It's gonna be a fun reveal. Let's start with your sectional, Ryan. You're in 4, right?
We're in D2 sectional 4.
Is there a reason D2 does their seedings like that and not like sectional 1? What is the point? It's the same thing, is it not?
To me. Makes no sense to me. Getting moved up to Division 1, that was what I'm most excited about, is getting the whole sectional seeded. And again, I don't want to make this a bash that I wish we were seeding the whole state, let alone a whole sectional. But I think as long as coaches are on Twitter, or people tweeting about bashing the formula, but if coaches are also tweeting about having to drive an hour and a half or 2 hours for a regional game, then you're keeping us stuck in the mud. But it makes no sense to me that they only seed half the sectionals.
Yeah, I know it. I've noticed it obviously over the last years, how many years, but I didn't know if there was an answer of why that D1's one way and everything else is another way.
I think it's travel really. I think it's a travel question, but
have to be the only thing that would make sense. Just looking at some of them, where particularly the more up north sectionals, where you have like from Shawano to La Crosse in the same sectional, maybe that's why they split it that way. But yeah, when you look down in the Milwaukee or Madison area, like all these schools and both of these half sectionals are within a half hour at most of each other.
Yeah.
Outside of Milwaukee, Marshall driving up to play at Reedsburg, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Did see that one. What section are we starting in?
We're starting with Ryan's, because Greenfield's 4 in sectional section 4. So you guys break it down. I don't know anything about. Well, obviously Lutherans in there, but
yeah, I mean, I guess to talk about what the Oregon Panthers talked about at practice today, that basically everybody in the state, everybody stinks, or you got Con Knipple. Everybody has their flaws. Everybody can be beat, kind of like we were talking about with, 13, there's so many seeds that think they have a chance to win. Obviously this sectional has Con. It has star power. Con, Jaquan Johnson is like as tough of a player in a sectional setting or against a really good team. How did Pius play Wisco this year, DePouw?
I'm going to look it up right now. I know they played Pewaukee. They went to OT at Pewaukee, Pius did.
Okay.
Earlier in the year.
Yeah, I mean, Jaquan's tough against good teams. And then the bottom half of the sectional, it's like, I feel like with my sectional, like where there's firepower to get out of the regional, I look at that group of 6 teams: Racine Park, South Milwaukee, Greendale, Martin Luther, and Greenfield. Those are 5 really good Division II teams. It'll be tough to get out of that top portion of the bottom half of the bracket. Racine Park's got a really good defensive guard. But I think whoever comes out of that will be whoever comes out of that regional would then likely face Con 2 in the sectional final.
So it was 43-37. Wisco was up at half on Pius the second time they played. Wisco won by 15. That was at Pius. Jaquan had 34 points, 6 rebounds, 8 assists. Con, 35 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists. Yeah, there's some talented players in that Woodland West and just down here in Division II.
Coach DePouw kind of I hate that this has almost become like people think of it in like derogatory terms at times because of how talented he was. But DePouw described Jaquan Johnson in a way almost like Rockets James Harden to me the other day. The prime James Harden in the sense that like it doesn't matter who Pius is playing against, Jaquan will get them a good shot. Um, and
Yeah, he's such a strong player, and he can, man, he just gets downhill. He's a good passer, willing passer. Can't get the ball from him. He's got a high usage rate as he should because he makes good plays and gets to the free throw line a ton because he's so strong. And if he misses the shot, he just grabs it back. He's a darn good player. But Wisco's fantastic. Whitnall has a really good team. Had an awesome season. There's a lot of good teams. Wisco has every right and deservedly the top spot because they've beat everything in sight, and it'll be a fun bracket, I think. But they again deserve all the accolades that they get because they beat. I mean, heck, looking at their schedule and just watching their film and our conference pool throughout the season, man, they play really good basketball.
Yeah, I just went through it. They've of all their wins, obviously they haven't lost. They have 4 wins that are single digits. Everything else is double digit win.
Yeah,
So they're
and it's
not
just
playing
like
a lot of close games.
it's just like progressively. They're up 10-4, then they're up 20-8, then they're up 35-15, and then the next thing it just keeps going up and up and up, and they're kind of like the DePere thing where they just get great shots every time. They have those other guys are really good
Good
players too,
shooters. Yeah, good
good
shooters too.
shooters. They again, Con is unbelievably special. They're fantastic basketball team. Well coached. Coach Walls, great guy, great coach. They have they have it all. They have it all.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking through like if you just looking at their shooting, it's like Cantu's at 40%. By all accounts, a down year for him shooting this year from three. I think one year, I don't know if it was a sophomore, he was like 50%. Last year, I think he was like 45 or 46. So he's a little down this year. But then like Rinfleisch is 50%. Now he's only taken 34, but Zen's 42%, Mellock 43%. Um, it's unbelievable. These guys can all just shoot it. And it's like I swear they hit like the most timely threes as well. Like anytime like the game's close and all of a sudden, oh good, Cantu didn't shoot it. Oh wait, this guy did. Now he made it. Now it's irrelevant. But like they're fun to
Yeah,
watch.
they sense the moment really well. It's a good
Yeah.
point. You just
Yep.
like they're all of a sudden the other team's kind of like chipping back, maybe got it to probably like 9 or 11, where you're
Yeah.
like in the maybe they'll make it again. Nope, gonna Mellock or Zenz or whomever just steps up and knocks down the kick out three, or they come up with the 50-50 ball. They really sense the moment well.
So you got a 4. Were you surprised? Did you expect a 4? Or where did you expect to be?
Um, I, I don't know. Was hoping. We had a really good win over Milwaukee Hamilton, who was the number 2 in the Division I Sectional
Oh,
4. Won the City Gold. Was hoping that might buoy, but end of the day, got what we got. We had winnable. We had games that we wish we could have got during the season, and is what it is. Gotta go play. We got a home game on Friday. It'll be against. We'll see who wins, I guess, tomorrow between Martin Luther and Cudahy. But you got a home game in a regional semifinal, and you just gotta see if we can get to Saturday and move from there. Park's real good, deserving. Had a nice bounce back year in the Southeast Conference. I think they were 11-3 in the SEC. Good guards, like Chris said, and then they have a real big, strong dude inside. So we'll just go play and see what happens. And the computer and all that stuff, whatever happened, and we move on.
so who is your? I'll ask you the same that I said I was going to ask you because
I'll
I
say
asked.
it. He should not have been the 4, but this is what it is. It's all within one or two, whatever.
What was your best win this year?
Milwaukee Hamilton.
Was it okay? That was by far the one. Okay.
Yeah, they. I don't know if they actually won the city conference tournament. They were in the championship and they won the regular season. They went 11-1. City League. We had some Hell, we lost to Whitnall by 3 at home. Real good game. Pius twice. We were in tight games, and it's a good fun part of playing in the Woodland. You get some good opportunities to play real good teams. Just weren't able to get done some of those close games, but that's okay. Fun to compete.
All right, so we all agree Sectional 4 is Wisconsin Lutheran.
Maybe.
Yeah.
unless Greenfield really gets hot. All right, so then Sectional 3, which was the greatest thing ever, is that we got Pewaukee and Wisconsin Lutheran separate. I'm just looking through this. Anything from this sectional that you guys stands out to you at all?
That Sectional 3 is, Pewaukee, Tosa West.
Tosa West, yeah. Stoughton
And Mount Horeb played 2 really good games this year. Stoughton and Pewaukee played a really good game this year.
Yep.
Stoughton's played a super tough non-conference schedule. Actually, Chris knows a lot more about them than I do, with them being a cross or whatever near town rival and playing them at the start of the season every year. But Tosa West as a 3 is a tough 3 seed with Kai and all those guys with that. Pewaukee obviously is Pewaukee, and he won going for the four-peat, and Nick Janowski and all those other, just the shooting everywhere. And then Mount Horeb's really fun to watch. Can fill it up. Milton's talented. This is a fun sectional. A lot of offense. Agree, maybe the highest scoring.
Yeah.
Sectional.
Yeah, I would just say, just real quick, obviously the top of the bracket kind of is the top. I think Tosa West and Pewaukee are really, really good teams and set up for a potentially really interesting sectional semifinal. Beaver Dam getting the 2 seed, it definitely helps them in that they're one of those teams that for some reason is like, they're really tough to beat at Beaver Dam. So Tosa West will have to win at Beaver Dam. The bottom half of the bracket, I think Stoughton's as good as any team in the Badger Conference has been since I've been in the Badger Conference. Milton, just an interesting tidbit on Milton. They went 7-0 in the Badger Large the second time through. So they played much better basketball the latter half of the year versus the first half. And they have a legit scholarship guard. So tough in the playoffs. And Mount Horeb, and that guard's a senior. And then Mount Horeb is as hard to guard as any team in our area, with a Platteville commit senior and another sophomore that can really, really score. So the bottom half of the bracket, I think, is interesting. I'd say there's 4 or 5 teams that all really think they could win it. And then Stoughton, while also being really good, I promise they did not want to have to play Fort Atkinson, because Fort Atkinson guards people, and that game will be slow, and they will not give up easy layups. Stoughton does have guys that can shoot them out of it and can shoot it, but Fort Atkinson won't give up easy stuff, and they'll grind you, and it'll be physical. And yeah,
I think a lot of people probably just assumed it's going to be Pewaukee, but like Stoughton played Pewaukee tough in Pewaukee. That game, if they play again to go to state, will be, I would expect it to be very, very close.
That was a really good basketball game.
Yeah,
it's going to be a game. Stoughton's got 3 college guards. They got 2 college bigs, and everybody can really play. And then their whole bench is really, really, really athletic. Their guards are really high IQ. I can't say enough good things about Stoughton.
Yeah. I mean, and let's take some time here to, we've talked about a bunch of kids. Nick Janowski is as good of a shot maker as there is in the state. It is unbelievable sometimes some of these shots he makes. It's just like, what do you do? Like, what do you do?
He can, the step back going either direction, the post game, the ability to draw fouls, and the craft on all the up fakes and fade away. He is special, and the competitiveness is better than all of that stuff.
Exactly.
He plays so hard, and you can't help but you just feel it when you're watching him. And we played Pewaukee in sectionals last year, and you just feel it on the court. He is just always getting after it, always ready to take. If you give him an inch, he is taking it every single time and not feeling bad about it, whether the score is 6-6, or 58-58 in a tight game. He is just coming after it, and it's awesome to watch. It's not amazing to coach against, but it's awesome to watch. And I mean, going for the 4-peat, I'm sure he I don't know if disrespected or whatnot would be the wrong word, because like Con deserves all his credit and is a flat out amazing player, and those two are always kind of compared together. But Nick's got three gold balls going for the 4. I don't know how many players have done that in state history. We need someone with a little more record book chops than I have. But yeah, to have a chance to go for the 4-peat is unbelievable.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing about his competitiveness being his best trait. Funny Janowski story. You know, 6th grade state tournament I'm reffing. No, 6th grade state tournament. It's a 6th grade. I think it was a Franklin Youth Invite tournament, and DePouw and I are reffing together.
Oh boy.
And we have Pewaukee versus someone, early. I can't even remember.
Pewaukee versus Franklin.
It's one of those games where you're jogging up and down, and Pewaukee hopefully someone can reply to this on Twitter. Pewaukee had a big that moved out of town that they definitely would have won 4 straight because that dude was awesome too. I think he moved to Maryland and his dad like played Division I or something. Whoever that is, I wonder if he's still good now. But anyways, Nick Janowski is making buckets that like translate to the highest levels of basketball in 6th grade. His handle was so advanced. He's making passes, and Ryan and I are reffing, but it's one of those where you're like looking at each other every couple plays, like, holy cow. And he must have had 40, 15, and 15 in a 6th grade game.
And you're just watching and like, what am I witnessing right now? This guy is unbelievable.
Inside out crossover combo, the same exact move he's doing now, he's doing in 6th grade. And no, it was fun to watch.
Slapping the floor, like
his competitiveness, whether he's playing, in a Peach Jam game or against Wisconsin Lutheran or against Greenfield in a meaningless conference crossover game after the seeds have come out, his competitiveness is it jumps off the screen. It's cool.
Yeah, I got to watch him since
kids care that much.
I was always coaching Caden, who didn't play in high school, didn't play varsity, but like we always had our Kimberly groups travel together, so we were always down in Pewaukee and all that stuff. So I've watched Nick since he was in probably 3rd or 4th grade, I remember. And it was just like this kid's, and his obviously brother Ashton played the same year as Jameson. So it was
his dad also yelled at me right before the half about a weird out of bounds call on the baseline, I remember, but he was super nice about it afterwards.
He was probably right.
He probably was. We were probably 22 games in on that weekend.
Fun fact, my cousin was the best man of his dad's wedding.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Let him know to lay off the youth refs. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Nick is going to end up with one of the most amazing, incredible career like stat lines in the history of Wisconsin basketball. Like between all the scoring and the assist, rebound, like the titles, like you're going to look at it and be like, this stands with very, very few people. Like it's going to be amazing.
So I hate to say this because Con 2 and what I think of Con 2 and how good Con 2 is and this and that. And like, there's been some good guys come through in the last few years with like Baldwin and what his like, but with the statistics and the era that we're in, is Nick Janowski the best high school shooter in Wisconsin history? Is he like a lifetime 47% 3-point shooter and have the most 3-point makes ever? Like he's got to have the career 3-point makes record or close.
I've never, out of all.
So like if we're talking like in the Steph Curry generation of NBA basketball, and I hate to say that because I truly think Con 2 is a better shooter, but the way that Con 2 plays in high school basketball, like you could like make the argument that like Nick Janowski is the Steph Curry of Wisconsin high school basketball.
It's an interesting take. I'm trying to find his.
And like his competitiveness and all that is great, and that's what we want to. That's what I keep coming back to. So how many guys could you say he might be the best shooter in Wisconsin high school basketball history, but he's also just a crazy competitor?
Do you want to say the best, maybe the best scorer?
No, I'm not willing to go there. And I love you, Nick. You may be the best sixth grade scorer in that you scored NBA translatable buckets when you were 11.
Oh yeah, I mean,
But
yeah.
but I'm not calling you the best scorer in Wisconsin history. I might call you statistically the best shooter in Wisconsin high school history,
So
which is crazy to say.
he's 38.2% this year. He was 41.8
That's low
last
for him.
year.
That's
40
low for him, but he's obviously taking crazy tough shots.
Yeah, his career he's 44.4.
And he's probably made what 303 or how many 100 threes?
281 from 633.
I mean, that's pretty good quick
281.
math there, Ryan. Yeah, I mean, if he goes down, makes 300 threes, wins 4 state titles, and hits 45% from three, you got to say he's one of the best statistical shooters in Wisconsin history.
And it's like we kind of mentioned, it's a shame that those two. It's cool because him and Contour are in the same grade, right? And they've grown up kind of together. But it's like it's a shame because one's always it's like if you are talking good about one, everyone thinks that you're bashing like the other kid, like, oh well,
Oh,
he's
yeah.
not, you know what I mean? It's
Right.
not like it's just they're both absolutely incredible.
Yeah, they're just fantastic players.
Just to point out that Nick J might score 1,000 points from behind the 3-point line is kind of insane.
And now, of course, and I'm going to, of course, do the exact same thing that I just said I didn't want to do, which I'm just going to look at Contu's stats.
See, you're calling it LeBron versus Michael now.
Oh boy.
Everything's a comparison.
All right, well, I'll look up this. You guys decide. Who do you guys pick who you're coming out of sectional 3?
Well, this is Woodland versus Badger. I'll take the Woodland team.
Yeah, I'd love to take the Badger then. I'd love to take Stoughton and think that everybody thinks that we don't have a chance. But Stoughton's got to get through Mount Horeb, who played him to a 1-possession game twice, or played him tougher than anybody in our league. And Milton is playing as well as anyone in our league right now.
And Pewaukee's got to play Tosa West, who's not.
Yeah, so like this is a really underratedly fun sectional in Division II. This is almost the De Pere Arrowhead Homestead sectional of Division II, I think.
Yeah, there's probably four top 10 teams. I haven't looked at the coaches poll or anything, but I would think 4 easy top 10 teams or likely top 10 teams.
All right. Let's move to sectional 2. So this is Schwabenon's the one and Nicolay is the one. I believe most people probably think Nicolay is coming out of this sectional, I would assume.
Yeah, I would think. I admittedly haven't watched the Green Bay Fox Valley teams in Division II too much. I saw some of Schwabenon's scores and they're having an awesome year. And I know a lot of those kids are playing. A couple I saw like lacrosse and a few of their playing college basketball, so they're good players and played with that Chapman team that was real good over the summer. But Nicolay is talented and aggressive, and they're won the North Shore. They beat Homestead in a wild game the other day, and Davion Hanna is as good as we sound like we're just praised, but there's some darn good players in Wisconsin right now, and he does some just unique stuff athletically and feel for the game and just can score 22 points and just flat out dominate both ends of the court. They're going to be tough to beat. And should they make it, they'd be 2 and 3. I can't remember if they made it 2 years ago too, or 2 years ago too, excuse me. But they've done quite the run.
Yeah, I don't know a ton about some of. I mean, I've watched. Schwabenon always seems to play everyone tight. Mark's always got something up his sleeve, coaching wise, to handle like the best of the best teams. So I don't ever want to count them out. But yeah, it does sound like Nicolay is obviously by far the favorite in this sectional.
Cedarburg's one conference loss, Nicolay's one conference loss too was to Cedarburg. So they definitely like have their attention. Like I might be going the other way in that argument, and that like Cedarburg has Nicolay's attention now. They believe they can beat him for sure, but Nicolay's not going to take them lightly.
Cedarburg's good. They beat Whitnall the other day on a Saturday. They have a nice team, but just Nicolay. Nicolay's A. Here's what I would say, and that's the Nicolay's A game is. I don't know if anyone can match that.
Yeah. I like Plymouth and West De Pere. I watched both of them only once, though. I saw West De Pere in a game they lost, actually, and I saw Plymouth in probably one of their better games, I would think. But both shoot the ball well and have like good athletic size. So two good teams. So whoever wins that game will give we'll give a Schwaben a game for sure. And I know West Bend West has a good wing.
Okay. What do we know about Sectional 1?
Not a lot. Wausau East, a lot of big wins this year, and River Falls was in and out of the top 10 all year. And then interesting stat from DePouw today that he said, I think West Salem's got to be one of the best shooting teams in the state. We haven't seen them much, but I think they've shot like 873s this year or something crazy. They've shot.
They've attempted. I sent it to you and Hicklin. I need to see the actual number.
I'm looking it up right now too.
It was 36 or 37 a game.
West Salem shot 872 threes in 24 games. 872.
And their point guard gets the rim. So like they have a scholarship guard who is a slasher and he's obviously surrounded by a ton of shooting. So like I'll be interested to see, and they've made the jump up in a sectional or in a division and lost college players last year. So it's impressive the kind of run they're on. If they can put it together another run here. But River Falls and Wausau East have played good basketball all year too. So I'm excited to see that sectional final. Kind of whoever gets there. Obviously, a lot of, just like we talked with some of the other sectionals, and a lot of good teams and competitive games. And Shawano has a kid that I think is as underrated as anybody in the state. Mosinee played Kaukauna really tough and has a good guard. Onalaska's always good. La Crosse Central has a scholarship guard. So there's more good teams than this sectional gets credit for. Fox Valley Lutherans won like 40 conference games in a row.
I was going to say, I think they've only lost one game this year. Yeah.
So I think there's more good teams than people are giving this sectional credit for. But at the same time, I think that's a really interesting sectional final if West Salem were to match up with one of those northern teams, like River Falls or Wausau East.
So who's like? I mean, is your pick West Salem? Would you take him or no? I mean, that's got to make the jump to D2, and then you get to.
I don't know enough about them. I'm going to plead a little unawareness here. The only thing I know is that West Salem shot 872 threes, which was
you have to mention the percentage as well. 32%.
32% on 872 attempts. They are
a lot.
Getting those babies up. That's about all I can say with concrete evidence right now is that West Salem is going to shoot a lot of threes.
My bad. Fox Valley has been lost twice this year.
Who were their losses to?
They lost to Xavier by 3, and then they lost to Appleton East.
By how much?
6. That was close the whole game. They were up the whole game, and then Joey did Joey things, and East got the lead.
FVL is seniors too. FVL is seniors. So like without knowing a lot about them, I like the idea of picking teams that are seniors in the playoffs. But I think this is a really fun sectional in that I almost think of all the sectionals we just talked about, there might be more potential winners in this sectional than any other.
Yeah, you're probably right. I'm just looking at Onalaska here too. 6 losses. I mean,
I even weirdly want to say Mosinee.
Yeah, I'm just looking at. So Onalaska lost to Wisconsin Lutheran, Grafton, Marshfield, a border battle team, Caledonia. The last one. I mean, I know Mark Milner was high on them on the podcast. They beat Mount Horeb. I don't know. Yeah, you might be right.
They're well coached.
Yeah, I mean this is the bracket. Like, who the hell knows what's going to happen?
No, I could see 6 or 7 teams winning this.
Yeah. Now, likely whoever comes out of this is going to be the 4 seed at state, correct?
I would think so.
Because Lutheran will be the 1, and then whether it's Pewaukee or Stoughton, Nicolay. I mean, if you assume Nicolay's coming out, those will be the 2, 3.
And again, that probably speaks to why it's so wide open too.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be weird. We might not even get depending on what happens at state, we might not even get Wisconsin Lutheran and Pewaukee at state, which is what everyone thought would happen. But
well, Greenfield's gonna.
Yeah, Greenfield is the sleeper pick in the whole entire thing.
Exactly.
All right. We're just gonna stop. We're not even gonna go to D3 or 4 because we got to get to Holy Cross rosters. Is there anything else to say about state other than we're really fucking excited?
It's a fun time of the year. Just
it is
talking
awesome.
through these, I and looking at the brackets, whatever, casually and passively at school is, or on your phone or whatever is one thing, but like talking through it, man. I think my biggest takeaway is there's so many good Friday matchups.
I know.
First day, there's like you don't look through and sure there are teams that deserve great credit and to be favorites going in to make a deep run, but there's a lot of really good teams with really good players and some tough matchups right off the get-go. Like if you're a fan of hoops, you could, I don't know how many regional finals get played on like Saturday afternoons, but if you're a big boys basketball fan in some of these more metro areas, whether it's Milwaukee or the Fox Valley or the Madison area, you got the chance to bounce around and watch some really good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and yeah, think about that. For as good as the Friday games are, the Saturday games are going to be even more crazy.
Right.
Yeah. All right. For anyone who does not know that's listening, there is a men's tournament, Holy Cross men's tournament in Kaukauna. It's 2 weekends. It's weird this year. I don't know, have they ever done this, Siebert, where they have a week off in between or no? I don't remember it ever happening.
Can't recall.
Yeah.
Off the top of my head.
So it starts the week of March Madness, the 22nd of March, and then the week of Easter weekend is a break, and then it picks back up April 5th, 6th, and championship is on the 7th. So I've had a team the last 2 years in it. The last 2 years it's been high school kids. And Siebert, you've been playing. How long have you guys both been playing in this?
Since college, right, DePouw?
Yeah, so
10 years. This will be 10.
Not for me, but
this will be 10 for me.
So your first year out of college, you played right away?
Yeah.
What team were you
on? This is actually making me question it because I feel like I played for it. How did I get? I'm a G. I don't know how I would have had a team right away, unless he was adding another Lawrence team, because the Lawrence guys were getting old.
Yeah. So you never played in the Lawrence team?
I didn't play with the Lawrence guys.
Okay. That's why I asked. I figured that you got asked from someone, but I don't know.
I didn't play with the older Lawrence guys, but I can't really remember who we had first. I just remember being bad at first, and then it just being like a work in progress to get enough players. But yeah, it's been fun. It's always one of my favorite weekends of the year. I clear it off on the calendar as soon as anything.
It's another such a just love of the game. Like everyone in there loves basketball.
It's awesome. It's such an awesome time.
Yep.
It's so much fun. I've been going there forever, and every year like you, I like block it off, and now I block it off because I'm having teams in it, but it's so much fun. Yep. You want me to go first?
Yeah, either way.
Do we want to go? Do we want to go back and forth? Like, all right. So, we mentioned 3 of my players on the podcast tonight.
3 of them.
3 of them, yeah.
Let's take a guess here.
You want to guess?
Can we have a guess? Can we have a guess game?
Yeah, go ahead. Guess the 3.
Are they all seniors?
Yeah, you can't have juniors. I don't think. Yeah.
Well, Janowski, let's just say Janowski, Basic,
Hornseth,
Minnesale, and Cantu.
I said 3. You just named 5.
Well, I know, but did we just knock off the 3 of them?
Yes, the 3 of them are in that 5.
Okay, you guys are going to be good.
Yeah, I got Cantu, I got Nick, and Bennett Basic.
I love this.
Good start.
Yeah, that's a good start.
Josh Metzger.
What happened to so they're not playing the like BSN guys are not like the old guys are not playing together?
Um, the goal or the hope was that Con 2 and Con 1 play together, right? Father-son matchup. So Con 1 is hurt, like we talked before the podcast. So Con 1's we'll see. Maybe he can play, but right now it's looking like he's not going to play. But they wanted to play together, right?
Yep.
And this will probably be Con 2's only shot at Holy Cross until he retires professionally, which he's going to be close to 40, whatever.
And
he
then
wants
come back and be the best player in Holy Cross at
yeah,
42.
well, so the goal is to win. The goal is to win Holy Cross this year, obviously. So, I let them kind of have free reign of like, you guys decide what you want to do, how you want to put this team together. My name is going to be attached to it.
Okay, so you have those three high school guys.
Yeah.
You have Josh Metzer.
Yeah.
You have Andrew Brugink.
Yep.
You have Elijah Goodman.
Yep.
Shit, you guys are good. You guys are good.
It's a tough team.
You guys are good.
And then we got Taylor Bowley.
Yeah, you guys are good.
That's okay.
That's the best team the Unintentionals ever had.
It is.
Yeah.
And we're adding one more. This is my shout out. If JJ Redick listens to this podcast, I want him to be the replacement for Khan on the team. It makes sense. He's my favorite player. Khan too has a connection because he's going to Duke. I think it's easy enough for JJ Redick to come in for the last weekend at least and play on our team.
Both podcasters. We can do a collaboration.
There you
Unintentional / Old Man in the Three. Maybe a little merger.
Does it not fit? It fits absolutely perfect. Like all this world can just collide into one, and my life can be complete.
I'll give him some bulletin board material and tell JJ Redick that 3-point line is way too short for him.
So yeah, so that's my team.
And the ceiling would be he'd be so confused. He would not be able to shoot in that gym.
He'd be fine. He'll be fine. All right, so who's your team?
We got a long list here. We got John Avercamp, St. Cloud State, old guy, former Holy Cross MVP and champion. Marcus Rue, a longtime player, long time ago at Bayport. Alex Olson played at Oshkosh. Vontrell Soroyer played at Wayne State. DeMond Smith played at University of Mary. Austin Stick at MSOE. Drew Windler at Belmont. And then Coach Ryan Rayfield, Coach Ryan DePouw. We'll move the rock, shoot open threes.
Who's guarding
pedigree from a few years ago?
Who's guarding the three high school kids if we play?
I don't want to give more bulletin board material, but believe it or not, those old guys are really good.
No, I know they are. I know
those old guys are really good. I mean, it's who's guarding Elijah Goodman, who's guarding Taylor Bowley.
Yeah, I know.
No, I don't know. I would say I don't know. Our team's a little different in that we might not have John Avercamp's definitely our stud, but we don't have. I would say we're John Avercamp and then a bunch of dudes that are willing to shoot open threes, but every guy can guard.
Yeah.
I don't think any of our guys made over 300 threes in their high school careers, though. Maybe combined we did.
No. Yeah. I think that's a good call.
It's funny. Have you heard of any teams at all like that coming, not coming? I don't.
All the teams are, I think from what I know, it's very similar. I know Oshkosh has a team or two actually.
Okay.
The best team of like Madison guys is back again, and the like semi-pro guys from Madison are back.
So they're not, but Brust's team won't have Showalter. Showalter's not back yet, is he, from his injury from last year?
Oh, I doubt it.
Yeah,
I haven't
right.
seen him playing.
Yeah, I mean that
Brust's
happened against our team.
Though.
Yeah.
Brust's team will be good. They'll have Chandler Deekvoss, who played at West Appear a long time ago.
Yeah. Yeah, he was on the team last year, yeah.
He's really good.
Yeah.
And only getting stronger, annoyingly. I don't know. Some of those guys just stay athletic.
I know, right?
Makes
It's
no
crazy.
sense. Makes no sense.
Whatever happened to God, what the hell is his name? I think he was on your team 2 years ago. Played at GB and then Belmont.
Mitch Listow.
Yeah, what's he doing?
Yeah, I should talk to him actually.
Oh shit.
Um,
Didn't mean to give you any ideas.
no, I should talk to him.
Yeah, add a 15th guy to your roster, Chris.
I already have
Don't
three
have
other guys
enough.
on this roster that are surprises.
Because he didn't play last year, did he?
He did play last year,
He
but
did.
I'm gonna text him tomorrow. He's in much better shape now than he was a year ago.
Okay.
Holy Cross season, man! What a good time of the year. We've got these playoff runs.
I
We've got
know.
Holy Cross around the bend. It's a beautiful thing.
March is going to be a blur of basketball. I love it.
I'm writing Mitch Listow on here right now.
So you said you had surprises on there, as in you didn't tell me what the other three names or what? Because you
Yeah,
haven't
so we
asked them
got
yet?
two guys that are really good. Oops, Mitch Listow's not that tall, but whatever. We got two guys that are really good that don't really want to play a lot. But once you get there, you never know what type of mood they'll be in. But the Tillema brothers from Randolph.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, yeah, you did say that. Yeah.
Yeah. We're to the age now too where like if we want to actually win, we can't. Nick Janowski's really good, man, but I'm happy to guard him for 2.5 minutes. If that
Okay, you can make it that long?
No, I'm going to sit over there. Sit down. I got
Uh,
all the bulletin board in the world that his dad yelled at me while I was reffing 7 years ago.
all right, that's all it's gonna take. No, he's really gonna light you up.
I won't guard him anyway.
Yeah. Ryan, do you
Way too
play
fast.
does Ryan, do you play in CGL or no?
Yeah, I do. I haven't played during the winter session because at Greenfield we have late practice quite a bit, so I
Oh,
have
okay.
to miss a lot. But I play in the fall, the spring, and the summer.
Um,
Ryan DePouw is the leading scorer in the state of Wisconsin in 2011, and now he plays defense. But he can't shoot anymore.
We
He
talked about that part.
became a coach and fell in love with Draymond Green.
that's awful. Um,
Yeah, man.
do you guys go to the draft next week?
Which draft? CGL
CGL.
draft?
Yeah.
I will be there. I'll
I
be
will
dra-
I will be there as well.
Perfect. I'll start formulating my strategy.
I
I
told
actually
you.
have one of Oregon high school kids playing this session, so really excited to
Oh, that's cool.
yeah
Yeah,
see
will
him.
they add a bunch of high school kids at all or no? I mean, there's probably a cap on the players, right? Because of
There is a
space.
cap. There's a good list of high school kids. There's more high school kids this Basic is playing.
Okay.
Um, I don't know if I should share everyone, but no, it's a good list. Are you doing the draft? Are you the GM?
I am I am the GM, but
But Khan is your GM?
Con 2 is my GM.
I'm looking at the list of GMs now. You know what's never fun when I look at the list of GMs and I'm by far the worst player. You got your whole roster is a CGL GM. Cantu, Elijah, Andrew Brugink, Bruss isn't on your team, and Boley.
That's good.
Some
I
good
get to
players.
that's nice. I'll get to meet them all next. I've already met Elijah.
Boley is Boley is Boley, as DePauw says, Boley has the belt right now of best non-con two in the league, I think. Boley's really
Really?
good. Boley is coming to hoop at CGL or at Holy Cross. Just
Well,
letting you
now
know.
I'm really even more excited.
He's good.
You'll like him a lot. You'll like him a lot.
Good.
Oh, Brust is better than him. Brust is back in shape now. But Boley's really good.
Now you're giving Bully bulletin board material.
I'm just speaking the truth, man. If I don't know, if you need bulletin board material in your 30s, I don't know. These guys don't need anything anymore.
Well, I'm excited. So yeah, that's next Wednesday, right?
Another guy that doesn't need anything is Nick Janowski. He'll be clapping in everyone's face, fist pumping like crazy with
Yep.
not even understanding where he's playing. not knowing one person he's playing against, but
Yeah,
he'll be more into it than anyone.
gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
So excited.
Thanks for having us, Sam.
Yeah, we gotta end this thing. It is late. Thanks for coming on. I appreciate it immensely. We'll do it again at some point. As always, we'll have you guys back on. So
Is this going to be the first ever three-parter? This is long.
no, because I actually have Zoom. I bought the membership or special thing so that I don't have to do. Otherwise, I would have cut it off.
Yeah.
This is
I think
just a long ass podcast.
Zoom Premium is a way better customer experience for your podcast guests, I will say.
I agree. Yeah.
For future.
Yep. That's why I did it. I'm like, if I'm gonna have people on, I'm not gonna have cut off and then go back, join in and stuff like that. Yeah.
Ryan doesn't even know what it was like in the olden days of Unintentional.
So poor. So poor.
But
I enjoyed my time today. Mega pod.
Yeah, I'm glad you came on. Too bad Kellett.
yeah, I would have liked to talk him off the ledge about his team a little bit, but they're gonna be tough on Friday. They're gonna be tough on Friday.
Yeah. So
I wish I knew more about the Kimberly team.
What do you want to know?
I just heard you talk about them.
Ton of dudes.
Deep.
Ton of dudes. There's just not
deep and athletic.
I've always said they don't have just like one guy that is just like clearly their stud. You know what I mean? Like there's got obviously, Thomas Myers leads the team in scoring, but like he's not averaging 25 points a game. You know what I mean?
Who does he guard on Friday? Does he guard a Ramus or a Hardy, or is he
Oh God, I'm trying to think how they've set it up the last couple times they've played. I don't know. I think it probably has switched. I don't know. That's the thing is they got so many guys that are like the same kind of size-ish that they can throw whoever they want.
Yeah.
Switch if they want to, whatever.
Kind of sounds like your Unintentional Holy Cross team. Just so many talented dudes.
I can't believe you just compared Kimberly to my Holy Cross team. But I did say, I think I sent it to you and Kellett. When you guys if you guys lose in the playoff, whatever. So like next weekend, we'll do another maybe another podcast with the teams that are not alive anymore. And then you can really pick the rest of the
Can we please
playoffs.
Get a Friday night? I just want you to send a text after this. A Friday night, just if it happens, an Appleton North Marshfield preview with both coaches. Ooh. That would be premium high school WIAA content that people don't get type of stuff very often.
That would be pretty cool.
Well, what sucks is I could text them both, but then they'd be like, "Don't jinx it." Like Marshfield's going to win, right? Marshfield's going to win their first game. We know that. I don't know about Kellett.
Yeah, Kellett will. Yeah, it's hard to plan in advance,
right?
But I'll agree to it for him, and then
okay.
And then Friday night, he's always easy to convince after a win. You don't have to worry about texting him until Friday at 9:30.
True. Or I could tell Kellett he has to go to Marshfield early on Saturday, and I could do a pre-game podcast before the game in Marshfield live.
Now you're talking. Now you're talking. I like this. Content is content.
Yeah.
Eyeballs are eyeballs, Sam.
Yeah. We'll have to kick the idea around. We'll see what happens.
I like your Holy Cross roster. Good work. I
didn't do a whole lot. I mean,
that was a smart merging of Unintentional and well, they were BSN, right?
I don't know. I think they were Schmitty tickets last year.
They used to be BSN, no?
I think so, and probably when Norgard was playing.
Got it. Yeah, that was a good merger.
I'm a smart man, Chris. I'm a smart man.
That was well played. I don't know. Ryan Rayfield's going to be chasing around some pretty fast dudes.
Well, hopefully we can avoid each other. We're, so like, hopefully we're on the opposite sides of the brackets.
Yeah. It'll be a good opportunity for Rayfield to push Platteville to some of those guys. But props to Platteville. Winning the WIAC.
Yeah, they did.
D3 tournament. Favorite level of basketball. D3 till I die. Love watching those guys play.
When does it start?
Next week. Friday, I think.
Friday, March 1.
Oh,
I saw that on Twitter.
Good deal.
I know Platteville's got is hosting, and can't remember. Bethany Lutheran, I think.
I think that's who I saw that they were playing Friday night.
Loris or something. but I remember thinking that Platteville's got to feel decent about it. There was no CCIW team in their quadrant of 4 and no Wash U. So I don't know. Got to feel good. The D3 world, it's all conferences.
Yeah.
Similar to you FVA homers, but thanks for everything. We'll see you guys next time.
Thanks, guys.
See ya. Thank you.